Thanks for joining us for this news conference. Welcome to those who are watching us on live streaming, and you can find us on Twitter via hashtag Mobility21. Well, it gives me great pleasure today to be with all of these elected officials and to introduce the woman who took the key leadership role in the reauthorization of the transportation bill this year. As chairperson of the Environment and Public Works Committee of the Senate, she crafted a bipartisan compromise. And then as co-chair of the conference committee, she made it happen. And as a result of her good work, we have the transportation reauthorization. Please help me welcome and thank Senator Barbara Boxer.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to be here with you all. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Gary. I'm fine. Now I can actually see you. Well, I couldn't be more excited than to be here because, you know, life moves so fast and sometimes we don't take enough time to realize when we have accomplished something. And believe me, getting that transportation bill done was a team effort. And I'm very happy Congressman Schuster is here with us. Where is he? There he is. He was part of the team. My colleague, Senator Inhofe, was part of the team. What we were able to do in the toughest of times was to come together because you may have noticed there's a little bit of polarization on Capitol Hill these days. No. But when I realized I was chairing the conference and the House bill was very different than the Senate bill, I reached out to Chairman Mica, Congressman Schuster, and we just actually locked ourselves in a room essentially and said, it's just got to get done. And I just had a flashback of when I walked into Chairman Mica's office. We had reached a really terrible impasse at the very last moments, and we realized that the formula that we had put forward wasn't really fair. And how were we going to fix it? And the whole thing was about to fall apart. And I remember coming in and seeing Bill in his baseball cap because it was 10:30 at night, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And we were all wondering how we were going to fix it. And we did. We managed to come up with a very fair proposal, which was to say everybody gets what they got in the last bill, and we'll figure out how to pay for it, and we did. It's a pay-as-you-go bill. But I want to talk about Mobility 21 and all the people behind me and all of you here. You really get what it takes. You really know that when it comes to transportation in our state and in this region, we have to forget about what divides us. We have to forget about some of us are Republicans, some of us are independents, some of us are Democrats. We have to forget about the fact that we may see a lot of other issues quite differently, but we have to come together around the premise that we cannot be a great state or a great nation if we can't move people, if we can't move goods, if we can't move freight. So we put aside those differences. People behind me, they live in different parts of the Southland, and they put that aside. So we put aside political jurisdictions, we put aside political differences, and we step up to the plate, we save the arguments for another day, and we try to find the common ground. Now, calling this conference, we are all in this together, is very appropriate, because we clearly are. I heard somebody say, and this isn't the exact quote, I just don't want to say that I made this up. It's really good. Somebody else said it. And it was something like, and I know somebody here was talking about deficient bridges this morning, I believe, in great detail. You know, when you have a deficient bridge, it doesn't matter if you're driving a $100,000 car or a $10,000 car or a motorcycle. You know, you're in big trouble. So we have to forget about all those differences. So we are certainly in this together. And when we came back with our compromise bill, the vote was 373 to 52 in the House, which that was the best vote since we had a bill there on Mother's Day, and 74 to 19 in the Senate, and likewise. So it was something that we could all be proud of. It's a reform bill. It takes a lot of programs, 90 or so, and brings them down to 30. It says we got to do better on project delivery. We protect the environment. We do it in a fair way. Look, I have to say, and I was hoping, while I'm stalling a bit here, that we would see Mayor Villaraigosa come in, because Mayor Villaraigosa came to me several years ago with a coalition of people from Los Angeles, Chamber of Commerce, unions, businesses, everybody, workers, everybody together, and said, is there a way the federal government could step up to the plate if we pass a local measure to build roads, to build transit systems, and fast forward that, and they called it 30-10. Could we build in 10 years what otherwise would take 30 years? I talked to my staff, and my staff came up with the idea of an expanded TIFIA program. And I won't get into the details of it. Most of you know TIFIA. Essentially, it's a 30-to-1 leverage. And we can come in, and we can front the money and create the jobs, especially in these tough times. So we moved forward, and we took that right to the Republicans, and they embraced it. So I would say to you this: there's a lot of really good decisions made in this transportation bill. Would I have liked some other things? Yes. Would Schuster have liked some other things from his side? Absolutely. But I think the lasting and most important thing we did, two things: the reforms that we put in place, which I think are critical, but also this expanded TIFIA. To take TIFIA from $110 million up to $750 million in the first year and $1 billion in the second year is a way of creating another 1 million jobs in this great nation. And you can take about 10% of those jobs will land here in California. So I couldn't be more happy. I'm getting an award, which I love to get awards while I'm still alive. You know, and when I'm gone, everyone will come forward. Oh, she was pretty good, you know. But when you get something, when you can really appreciate it, it is so wonderful. So MAP 21 will create or save 300,000 jobs right here in California. The unemployment rate for construction is still too high. It's over 11%. We build on the success of the old TIFIA program. I am just really, really thrilled. So at this point, I've stalled enough, and the mayor is still caught in traffic, I'm sure. So what should I do, Gary? Should I turn it back to you?
Let's say thank you.
I'll turn it back to Gary. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Senator Boxer. We really appreciate your leadership. Well, it's now my pleasure to introduce a special guest here today from Western Pennsylvania, Congressman Bill Schuster, who is a member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He's also the chairman of the Subcommittee on Railroads, Pipelines, and Hazardous Materials. He is a champion for infrastructure and transportation and played a key role, as Senator Boxer said, in the transportation reauthorization. We are delighted to have him with us today in Anaheim.
Well, thank you very much, Gary, and thanks for having me here. We did spend some long hours together with Senator Boxer and I, and she showed great leadership on the conference, and it was a very bipartisan leadership. So I want to thank her for that. She really led us through, and as she mentioned, there were some tough times. There were some times we didn't think we'd get a deal, and there were some late nights. And as she told you, one night after 10:30, we showed up, and I did have a baseball cap on, but as the senator, she showed up. She's always very stylish and elegantly dressed. She came in a very stylish and elegant a gym suit or workout outfit. So I think she was she was probably frustrated with us and had to blow up some steam at the gym. But no, it was great working with her. As I said, she showed great leadership, and we look forward to the next Congress. There are going to be bills that we have to work through. WRDA bill, and within 2 years, another highway bill. So I look forward to working with the senator and continue to build our relationship and as we move forward. MAP 21, as the senator said, was a reform bill. It moved in the right direction. trying to eliminate red tape and increase the speed in which we can get these projects done, as well as make sure that we take care of the environment, make sure that they're engineered in a sound way so that they're safe for the traveling public and for commerce. And MAP 21, I think, accomplishes that. But we need to do more, and we'll continue to work in that direction. A lot of people ask me, why does a congressman from rural Pennsylvania come to Southern California? And I say because what happens in Southern California and other places in the country affect the United States economy in a significant way. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, which take in almost about 40% of what comes into the United States into our ports, about a third of it goes east of the Mississippi. So what happens in the Port of Los Angeles affects places like Altoona, Pennsylvania, and Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And there, as I said, other places in the country, Chicago, New Orleans, New York, all have that sort of same ripple effect in the economy. So it's important that I come out here and see firsthand, that I come out here and talk to the leadership that's out here, that we're working together to make sure that we have a national transportation system that'll make sure that our country stays competitive in the world. And that's incredibly important that we have that viewpoint. It's incredibly important that we remind the American people that the federal government has a role in the transportation system, going back to the Constitution, going back to Adam Smith, who said that the government should provide three things for the people, and I'm paraphrasing. It should provide security, justice, and build infrastructure to promote commerce. So from the beginning of our nation till today, the federal government needs to work with the state, local government to build that infrastructure to keep us competitive. And I think it's important as we move, or in Washington, D.C., engage with Senator Boxer and myself and our colleagues. They have to feel that the necessary or the need to invest in our infrastructure, and they need to talk to members of Congress to make sure that they're pushing them in that right direction, because we need to invest. And if we don't, as I said, we're going to fall back in the world and not be competitive. And if we want to continue to have a robust and prosperous economy, it's going to take foreign trade, both coming into this country and going out. And our transportation system will do that if we continue to invest at the needed investment in that system. So again, I want to thank you for having me here, and just also a shout out to Mobility 21. You're the example of what we should be doing around the country, bringing together business leaders, government leaders, educating the community, and your example also here in Los Angeles County and in Orange County and some of the counties up north also voted by a referendum by the people to dedicate a half a cent or a penny to transportation projects. That's exactly the kind of thing we need to be educating the American people on a national basis. And I look forward to working with the senator, and look forward to working with Mobility 21, and of course the mayor of Los Angeles, who's been very innovative in what he's been doing as his tenure as mayor of Los Angeles. So again, thank you very much for having me here, and
I want to welcome all of you to come to Orange County. We are pleased you could join us today at the Mobility 21 Summit as Los Angeles braces Carmageddon 2, when traffic will come to a screeching halt because of a project that will actually improve traffic. And I do want to do a shout out to Antonio Villaraigosa, the mayor of Los Angeles. As a fellow mayor, he and I know that engaging in local issues is extremely important. So his leadership has been absolutely fantastic in improving it. And a lot of people say, well, why would somebody from Orange County want to be commenting on something that happens to Los Angeles? Those of you who are transportation experts know that what happens in one county always impacts another county. So we always have to work together in getting the things done. So I want to commend Mayor Villaraigosa for his leadership. Mobility 21 brings together leaders from all 7 counties in Southern California because, as you're hearing today, improving transportation must be a collaborative effort. There is no doubt that every mode in our transportation system will be challenged to accommodate future population growth. We're here today to announce 5 steps to help break through the gridlock. Now, item number 1, we must plan for a transportation system where all modes work together, including transit systems, highways, bikeways, walkways, and housing. The Southern California Association of Governments and the San Diego Association of Governments recently released regional transportation plans that do just that. We have to invest in Southern California goods movement structure. relating back to Congressman Schuster's remarks. And Bill, by the way, I want to thank you for your leadership. You're a true friend to Southern California and will be eternally grateful for the fact that you recognize that. So thank you so much. To remain competitive globally, we must improve our goods movement infrastructure to ease congestion on our freeways and our railways. Southern Californians should support local tax measures for transportation. As we all know, state and federal funding sources for transportation are going to dwindle severely. We must look forward to ways to be self-sufficient and stretch our local dollars further. As today's keynote speaker, Jonathan Tisch, who was just introduced, chair of Loews Hotels and co-owner of the New York Giants, will address at the luncheon, we will have to continue to develop Southern California as the region of choice for private investment in public infrastructure. We must enhance opportunities for people to live, work, and play in Southern California through walkable neighborhoods, improved bikeways, and safe routes to school. As Senator Boxer said, we are all in this together, and I want to take an opportunity to mention Senator Boxer for your leadership. You're doing the work of the people back in Washington, D.C., but the thing I like about you, Senator Boxer, is you never forget where you come from, so we appreciate that. We are all in this together, and that's why we're asking the public to help Mobility 21 carry out the 5 steps that I just outlined by voicing their support of transportation to their elected leaders. Together we can break through the gridlock and avoid permanent Carmageddon. And at this time, I'd like to open it up for questions from the press, and here we are. Mayor Villaraigosa. Already gave you many accolades.
You gave me too many accolades. The mayor hasn't fixed the traffic, is the... God, that's why we need that widening on the Santa Ana Freeway. First of all, I want to thank all of you, and I particularly want to acknowledge and thank my friend who will be honoring today, Senator Barbara Boxer. When it comes to issues of transportation, there's nobody that I know in the Congress who really gets it, really understands what we need to do. And when you look at what happened over a 3-year period of time, trying to put a surface transportation bill that was extended, I think, 11 times in that period, and you saw the steadfast leadership of Barbara Boxer, the folks at Mobility 21, many of the people that are standing here with us, who got behind the notion that we shouldn't only expand and build upon what the Senate and the Congress has done with respect to our transportation bill, but we should be innovative and creative in how we approach financing of projects at a time of deficits and debt. And this organization is the gold standard. They were there from the very beginning. I want to acknowledge them for that. I also want to say that from my vantage point, that there's still more work to do here in Los Angeles County. When you look at what we've been able to do with respect to Measure R, half-penny sales tax generating $40 billion over the next 30 years, now with America Fast Forward, counties and cities like Los Angeles will be able to access low-cost transportation loans that can get leveraged anywhere from 10 to 30 to 1 match. And what I've said is, as we put Measure J on the ballot now, which is the extension of Measure R, we're going to be able to bond against future years and accelerate our projects, both public transportation and highway, over the next 10 years instead of 30. That's what this effort on the part of Mobility 21 has been able to do. And what I've said to mayors across the country, and we've got more than 200 mayors behind America Fast Forward and the surface transportation bill, nobody's going to let LA County and the Southern California region get all of the federal funding. So you're going to see across the country, and I think there are 22 cities now that are getting behind a half-penny sales tax of some sort, or an increase in taxes to make the infrastructure investments that we need. So I'm happy to be here. Great to be here with Mobility 21. And again, I want to acknowledge my friend and our leader, Senator Barbara Boxer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks to all of you for being here. Our